I'm going to have to stop a second. It sounds like you've got a marble rolling around your floor.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm being really distracting. I'm just making sure that I'm still recording.
Okay.
I'm really sorry. Do carry on. I am listening.
Okay.
I promise.
So.
It's episode 27 of Podemup. This month, we're diving into a series of bizarre minigames featuring a Japanese family, It's Incredible Crisis for the PS1. Before that, we've got an incoming indie for you, and a short trip down memory lane with LCD electronic handhelds of yesteryear. All that and more on Podemup.
Hello, welcome back to Pod Them Up. I'm Ollie. That's Tibbs over there. Hello,
Right.
Tibbs.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. So, got your PS5? Got your Xbox Series X?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. No.
No. It's
No. A man can dream. No.
Well-
I mean, even if my meagre finances could stretch to such luxuries, you've got more chance of finding a gold nugget than finding a PS5 at the moment.
Yeah, I did read there's
Shiny
a
gold nugget.
bit of a shortage. Yeah.
I'd probably hold off anyway, though.
Yeah.
I'd like, obviously I'd like the fun and excitement of getting a new console day one and all that. But,
yeah, of course.
Experience is that it's usually better to go for the second or third revision of the hardware, generally
That's
speaking.
right. Yeah. Well, there's some Series X's that are smoking, aren't they? Did I see that?
No. That turned out to be a hoax.
Oh, was it a hoax?
People were getting their little vape pens and blowing it towards the intake at the bottom of the console, and then just filming it as it gets sucked up through the console and pour out the top.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay.
But I can't imagine there's anything good in all that vapor that's going to be gumming up the insides of the Xbox One. But yeah, it certainly wasn't due to any hardware malfunction. But yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So what have you been playing then this month?
Well, what have I been playing? I forgot what it's called. Little Hope. The Dark Pictures Anthology. Part 2, Little Hope. Are you familiar with this series? Are you there?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I was there. Yeah. No. Well, I wasn't. I briefly. Do you know what? I reached over to turn my monitor off because I find it distracting, and I inadvertently closed my laptop, which which sent me off for a bit. I think. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I'm used to it.
Okay, so I've missed everything that you said then.
It's fine. I'm used to people zoning out while I talk. But
Just
no. So Dark Pictures Anthology, Little Hope.
What's that?
It is a. Did you ever play Until Dawn?
I did not know.
It's by the same people, by Supermassive Games. It's kind of a horror anthology series. It's going for like a Tales from the Crypt kind of thing, where you've got a main character called the Curator, who's introducing these stories, these creepy horror stories. I'm going to have to stop a second. It sounds like you've got a marble rolling around your floor.
I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. I'm being really distracting. I'm just making sure that I'm still recording.
Okay.
I'm really sorry. Do carry on. We'll cut out my marble rollings, and you just carry on. Sorry, I am listening.
Cool.
Promise.
Okay. Cool. So, so there's this creepy guy. His name is the curator. That's all you know him as, and he reads you. He brings out one of these books, and he tells you the story, and you play the events of the story basically. And it's usually a bunch of characters. The first game was called Man of Medan, and it was about a ship. Ghost ship, and these people found themselves on it. You had to get them all off.
I remember you talking about that one.
Yeah, so this is the follow-up game. This time it's a creepy village surrounded by a thick impenetrable fog that they can't escape. And same thing, you got to have them wander about this town, find out what's going on, and save them. It's alright, it's a bit glitchy, it's very buggy. Apparently, according to the Twitter account everyone should follow at DoesItPlay1, where they check whether games run without needing online updates and things like that, and make sure the whole game's on the disc. The version that's on the disc, the unpatched version, apparently has a game-breaking bug that won't let you complete the game.
Oh, God.
So that's not so good.
Oh dear, it's what a terrible situation we are in, where they just release games just broken, and then don't worry, we'll patch them up later.
I'll patch it later.
It's just shocking, isn't it?
It
really
is. I don't like it at all. But so yeah, I did patch it. I did play it. I finished it. It finished a bit suddenly, a bit underwhelming, to be perfectly honest with you.
Okay.
But it was all right. I've played worse. It's average. I'd give it, if I were the type to score things, I'd give it sort of 6 out of 10. It's not bad. It's not brilliant. It's all right. It's all right. I've also been playing. I wanted to play. I'd want to buy that Watch Dogs Legion, the new Watch Dogs game, only because it's set in England, and I think that'd be quite an interesting. Quite interesting to play a game like that set in our own country. So I thought that would be an interesting one. So I haven't bought it yet because it's an Ubisoft game, which means you've got to navigate a spreadsheet of things to figure out which games actually got the whole game in it, which version. So I can't be bothered with that. So I thought I'd go back and try playing Watch Dogs, the original, because I tried playing it before and it didn't click with me. So I've been playing through that now. So I thought I'll play through that. I'll play through Watch Dogs 2, which I've heard is better. And by that time, there should be a few second-hand versions of Watch Dogs Legion knocking about, and I should be able to pick that up on the cheap.
Yeah.
So Watch Dogs I've been playing. It's okay. It's very, very frustrating at times. It's very
I must admit to not knowing what sort of game it even is, actually.
It's kind of Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Sort of free roaming city thing. It's an Ubisoft game. So there's towers you have to climb. There's a mission where you have to follow someone but not too close. And honestly, at times it felt like I forgot. There was a mission in particular. I literally forgot I was playing Watch Dogs and thought I was playing Far Cry 5. It just felt the characters and everything. I was like, hang on a minute. Oh no, it's not Far Cry. But Ubisoft games are they're basically reskins. They're all the same game. But yeah, so it's kind of like a Grand Theft Auto free roaming city thing, and you play as a rather unlikable hacker type person. He hacked into a bank, someone didn't like it, so they ordered a hit on him, but it went wrong and his niece got killed, so now he's on a journey of revenge to find out who it was and enact his revenge. So it's standard missions, go from point A to point B, shoot all the guys there, and then come back, and that's basically the majority of the game. But what sort of differentiates it is because you're an elite hacker, you can hack into all sort of environmental things around the world. So you can make traffic lights turn red or green as you go through them to cause pile-ups. If someone's chasing you, you can engineer a pile-up behind you to try and throw them off the trail. And you can cause sort of little bollards to come up in the road and power generators to explode and all sorts of things.
Is this while driving?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, right. That's quite a skill to be able to hack and drive at the same time.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it is. He's quite skilled in that regard. And you can, a lot of the missions will be like, you need to get into a restricted area. So instead of sort of just running in and shooting your way in, you'll hack a security camera. And then you can control that camera. If you see another camera, then you can jump to that one. You hack that one, and you can sort of jump from camera to camera to get inside the building, and then hack into a computer that way. And it's interesting. It's interesting. I got quite frustrated. I'm right towards the end of the game now. I think there's only like a few missions left, and I had to do this. There's a fight with a gang leader on the top of an old skyscraper, it's a sort of derelict skyscraper. And you have to fight him, but he gives this really long speech about why he's so great and, how dare you challenge him and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It goes through all that, and then the fight begins. And if you lose that fight, as I did several times, you have to listen to the whole thing again.
Oh my god! And you can't skip it.
You can't skip it.
That is ridiculous.
And then if you the battle goes in, the fight is in two waves. So you kill the first bunch of enemies, then he gives you another section of the speech, and then he'll come out to fight. So if you lose on the second bit, you have to listen to all of this first speech, of the second speech. I got so frustrated with it last night. I just switched it off. I was like, I can't listen to it again. That does my head in.
I know. It's amazing how things like that sort of creep into the final game and then, don't get patched out or anything like that, because it's such an obvious, annoying thing.
It is so obvious. I mean, it could just be that I'm crap at the game. Because I will say that there's like a skill tree of things. You get skill points and you can customize which area of your character's development you want to focus on. So you've got like hacking skills, combat skills, driving skills, that kind of thing.
Something I can't stand in games, because
really?
I just can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered to think, just give me everything, just give me the what I need. I can't really be dealing with skill trees. They're a big turn off for me.
Well, the thing I thought, because he's meant to be a hacker and the game is about hacking, I thought, okay, I'm going to focus all the skill points, the majority of them, not all of them, but the majority of them, I'm going to focus on the hacking skills.
Yeah.
And there is a particular combat skill that would have made the fight easier, but by the time you trigger the fight, you can't leave it and then go, grind skill points somewhere else and get the... So, if you haven't got that skill point by there, you're not going to get it, It's just... Yeah, but other than that, I mean... Again, it's not a brilliant game. I wouldn't say to anyone it's a fantastic must-play experience, but I've had a reasonable amount of fun with it. And it's been sat on my shelf for years, because I did try it ages ago and it just didn't click with me. But it's clicked with me a little bit more this time, so I'm glad I've given it a chance. But I've heard Watch Dogs 2 is a lot better, so I'll report back on that. Next month, hopefully.
Yeah, certainly the London one sounds interesting.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Because I've always been drawn to, games that are based in places that I'm familiar with.
Yeah. Yeah, and, I mean, it's probably the reason I spent, all the time I spent playing Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
3, 4, whichever one's
it's 4. Yeah, I played a bit of that as well. It's
just because it was set in England,
in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see, isn't it? Because normally it's always New York and America and Los Angeles and that kind of thing. So it's always nice to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was that game on PS2, The Getaway, which was another sort of GTA-like thing, and that was set in London. But I couldn't get into that one either. I played the first time I played it. Like the first mission in the game is first or second mission, you've got to get in your car and escape or drive fast through the city. And there was some glitch. I just drove straight off the map. And I was like, right.
Into the Thames?
Yeah, pretty much. But it's just like, nah, that's back in the box.
Yeah.
Back in the box. But yeah, other than that, and Mario 35. I've been playing tons and tons of Mario 35.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so
Cool.
I'm going to be really annoyed when they take that down because I've become quite addicted to it.
Yeah, when they make the unfathomable decision to just remove it from existence, yeah. Well, we've been through that.
Yeah, we've been through that. So,
Yeah.
what about you? What have you been playing?
I've been playing around with a little game called Super Mash. It's effectively a game generator. So the idea is that you've got this character, and he's found an old games console. It looks a bit like a SNES, and it's got 2 cartridge slots on it. And you've got a load of cartridges, but rather than games on them, they've got genres on them. So platformer, shoot 'em up, stealth, Metroidvania, JRPG, that kind of thing. So you choose which 2 genres you want to put in, and it will generate a little game, incorporating elements of both of those genres. So it's quite an interesting little thing. Actually, the most interesting one that I've come across is so I merged, I think it was a JRPG and a shoot 'em up. So you get this. It shows this character like an RPG kind of character, and he was kind of flying over this vertical shoot 'em up landscape with planes coming towards him. And when you press the shoot button, rather than it shooting something, the game pauses. And a little RPG-like menu comes up asking you which attack you want to do. And then one of them's like swing the sword, and you'll swing the sword and you'll just destroy the enemies that are in front of you, or drop a bomb and stuff. So I thought that really is a genuinely interesting mix of both elements of both genres into one thing. I mean, it's not a particularly practical thing, but it's just... And to be fair, at the beginning of the game it says, don't expect... an amazing thing. This is like an experimental thing. So sometimes the game might be too difficult, might be too hard, might not even be beatable, might be a bit weird and glitchy. But it's kind of the fun of experimentation and seeing what you get.
I'm just looking at some screenshots of it now on the Nintendo Store page. It looks really good.
Yeah, it's got all its pre-made assets. So you might see characters popping up again and again. But it's the way it uses them, and it kind of incorporates kind of twists and targets and things. So in one case, I think I merged stealth and RPG, and it said I couldn't attack any enemies because of the stealth bit. But when you go into a turn-based battle, you can't run away, and you've got literally no option but to attack an enemy. And as soon as you do, you fail it. Obviously it wasn't beatable, but it's quite funny nonetheless. So
really cool.
it's a really interesting little thing. Yeah,
I can't believe I've not heard of this. It says here release date May 8th, 2020. I've never heard of this. That's really surprising.
I can't remember when I first heard of it. I only picked it up recently. I got it on the Epic Games thing because I had a coupon that I needed to use, so I went for that. But yeah, it's really nice. I mean, the only thing I'd say at the moment is I haven't got many different genres. I've got a lot of kind of things that would be merged anyway, like platformer, stealth, Metroidvania, that kind of thing. I'm hoping that to unlock, I don't know if I will, but I'm hoping to unlock more genres like, fighting games, racing games, and to kind of mix those together would be even more interesting, I think.
It does say on the description, it says over time we'll be supporting the game with various content updates, including new genres, characters, dev cards, and more in future. So yeah, it looks like they are planning to add more to that. So yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. I think normal price is only about £15 or something.
Yeah,
20.
$20.
Okay.
$20. So yeah, about £15. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. I think it's on most things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good. I'm gonna try that.
It's well worth a little play around. Yeah. I think a lot of the ideas might not be that usable if you're a game dev and looking for some inspiration, but you probably get some interesting things that might, kind of send you off on different tangents and ideas and stuff. But yeah, other than that, a bit more Klonoa 2.
Oh yeah, cool.
Sort of quite far through that now. It's obviously, again, really good. A lot of the levels vary significantly in length. You get some levels that are like a normal platformer length, like about 5 minutes or so. And then other ones, I'll sort of sit down and think, okay, I'll play a bit of Klonoa 2 before then moving on to something else. And 40 minutes later, I'm still on the same level. Because a lot of them are puzzle based.
Yeah.
So remember in Klonoa 1, you would pick up an enemy and you could use that enemy as like to hop up to a higher platform or to throw it at something. A lot of them do different things now. So you could have like a little helicopter one, or you could use one to get through a barricade of some sort. They do different things. So a lot of the puzzle elements are using which ones in which order to get past a little puzzle. So they often take a little while. But it's really good. Yeah, that's the same thing as I said last time.
Yeah.
I haven't really been playing much else. I did catch Console Wars, the documentary, based on the book, the Blake Harris book.
No, I've not. No, again, this is it's flown under my radar.
Have you never read the Console Wars?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, it came out a few years ago. It's about the battle between Sega and Nintendo in the early 90s, basically. Well, there's a huge history there, so it's a really interesting read. But they recently made a documentary about it, and it's good. It doesn't cover everything in the book, and it kind of glazes over some bits. But I mean, it's an hour and a half versus a full book, so that's to be expected.
Yeah,
really,
they've
kind
got to
of
cut things
brisks
out, yeah.
through things.
Is that a Netflix or?
Well, no, I happened to see it on Sky because it came out. It was recently announced it was on some sort of CBS on-demand thing in America, and I thought, how am I going to get that? And then I just happened to see it just in the daytime on Sky documentaries or something. So I just got it there. So if anyone's got Sky, they can catch it there. They probably get it somewhere else. I'm just sure. But I'd recommend it. It does that weird thing that other video game documents. There's another one on Netflix, isn't there? The High Score one.
That's the one I thought you meant to begin with. Yeah, I've not watched that either.
No, it's similar. It's very similar, actually. That one also does this, where they kind of dramatize the scene that they're depicting in like pixel art, and they keep doing so. Like all the characters, they like recreate the characters in sort of silly pixel art, just to kind of keep your attention while they talk about something.
Yeah,
I find that a bit kind of silly and pointless, but
I'll check that out.
Yeah. I mean, the book, you definitely check out the book because it's really, really interesting. It kind of centers around Tom Kalinske, who was he ran Save America basically in like the early 90s. He was a big force in making Sega what it was then, popular and everything. Kind of his ideas behind marketing and ad campaigns and stuff, and putting Sonic 1 in the box, the Mega Drive and things like that. So definitely a good read.
Yeah, isn't that the apocryphal tale of when whoever was in charge of Sega at the time in that meeting, didn't he kick a chair over in disgust and walk out the room?
Yeah. It's the book and the documentary covers that bit, and yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And it's all about the sort of the dynamic between Sega of America and Japan, and how they're basically at odds with every
they were
decision.
Always,
And the Japanese guy, because Sega of America was doing so well and the Mega Drive was doing comparatively poorly in Japan, he was getting on their cases in Japan about why aren't you as successful as the Americans, and things like that. So and obviously they then resented Sega of America, and it's caused their own demise really in the end.
Yeah, ultimately it did. Yeah.
So, we've discussed a bit on the PS5, haven't we, and the Series X. Have you got any other news things that caught your eye?
Not that I can recall. No, I don't think so. There probably
No, I
is,
haven't
because
either.
whenever we say that, I should prepare for the show a bit more in terms of the news things, because I always think of something afterwards. Oh yeah, we should have mentioned that.
Yeah, no, I don't actually prepare the news bits either. It's just things I happen to have seen
it's
along
just
the way.
things
But I don't.
You bump into. Oh, I did get the Mario Game & Watch.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and you good?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it says on the tin. It's a little Game & Watch, Mario Brothers. Really nice little screen on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with it really. I'd say if it a Game & Watch with Super Mario Brothers on it is appealing to you, then yeah, I'd pick one up.
Is it just Super Mario Brothers? Is there the actual Game and Watch recreations of the actual Game and Watch?
It's Mario
stuff on there.
No, it's Super Mario Brothers, Mario Brothers 2 or Lost Levels, a clock, and a Game and Watch version, the Game and Watch Ball, where it's just Mario juggling.
Okay.
There aren't any other Game and Watch things on there.
It's a shame. They could have bundled them all on there, really, couldn't they? Just for
it would have been nice.
Because why not? You know,
it would have been that. Well, I mean, why not would be money. I imagine if it does well, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Zelda one, and a Donkey Kong one.
That's true.
Revisit all the classic Game & Watches, and each time bundle a new version.
Bundle a different one on there. Yeah. Yeah.
It seems
it's funny that
of all the companies, I would expect Nintendo to do something like that.
It's funny, those, I don't know what you would even call them, but those Game Watch things, those, and like was it the Tiger ones?
Yeah, the little LCD games, yeah.
It's funny, if you showed those to like a kid now, they would just look at you blankly and think, what the hell is this?
I know.
So it's so basic, but we did just literally just sit there and play them, didn't we?
That's the thing.
It was just...
I mentioned this on Twitter a while back, but it kind of irks me a bit because there's so many people you'll get it on, like generally on forums, on YouTube and things like that. People being all snooty and looking down their nose at the Tiger LCD games and how crap they were and everything. But I mean, at the time, when I got the Sonic the Hedgehog one, that was one of the main ones I had.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that came out. I'm going to guess 93 or 94. It was never a replacement for having a console at home, or it was never meant to be a replacement for a Mega Drive or anything like that. It was just a cheap game that your parents wouldn't get too mad about you if you lost it in the playground.
Yeah,
basically,
exactly. Yes,
it's something you could play in the playground. If it got smashed, it was £10, rather than however much a Game Gear cost at that time. They were never meant to be these great in-depth experiences. They were just fun little distractions when you had half hour in the playground.
Exactly.
I played loads of them. You can actually, I don't know if you've done it yourself, but actually if you go on the Internet Archive, archive.org, they've got basically all the Tiger LCDs that you can play in the browser emulated.
Brilliant.
The Sonic one, the Golden Axe one, which is actually still really quite good, I have to say.
I had the Street Fighter one, I think.
Yeah, the Street Fighter one as well, yeah.
Yeah.
They're really good. They were really nice little things.
I mean, it is crazy what they could do with such a limited, set kind of sprites or pictures, just in very, very specific places. Because I'd never really played the Game & Watch ones, and my wife Abby was telling me about one because they used to have one, they're her siblings, and it was like a Mario platformer, and it was literally just, you could just move him like left and right, and like these platforms would just sort of move along the screen. And it was surprisingly good for what it was. It looked very impressive. Yeah, they were really cool at the time. It's funny. It's one of those things where I remember, like, kids having them in the playground. I knew at least one person who had the Zelda one that folds in half. Loads of people had the little handheld ones. I can't remember what one I had, but I remember I had one. I definitely had the green Popeye. It looks like a little mini arcade thing, and it's like a little you put on your almost like a laptop-sized little green arcade thing, and that was a Popeye Game & Watch. And I had the actual watch ones that they did. I had a Super Mario Brothers 3 Game & Watch. Right.
Don't know where they are now, and they were really common back then, but you see they've become really collectible now.
Yeah, I know, they have.
And it's like, everyone had them back then. I don't know where any of them are now.
I know. I had the Turtles one. This was going back quite a long time now. I think you may have seen it. They do pop up now and then. It's like this sort of really big, long thing with buttons and a small screen at the top.
Yeah, that's the Konami ones, isn't it?
Yeah,
I had a
yeah.
Konami Star Trek one, a grey one. That they had that same. They all had that sort of elongated shape, didn't they?
Yeah, the weird shape, yeah. And I think that must have been a long time ago. That maybe 1990, 91, something like that.
Yeah.
Like a really old one. And I don't even remember what the game was like, but I definitely remember it very clearly.
The only one I still have, it's in my parents' attic, is the Tomy. I can't remember what they called them now. The 3D something, and they were like a 3D visor you held up against your face. And
right.
they look like a pair of binoculars almost, and you put them up against your face, and it's just like a little LCD game. But this one was like little biplanes, and they were shooting down balloons or something, and it had like a little light panel on the top, so you had to have like direct sunlight shining in the top to illuminate it.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, that was really good, and you sort of held it up, and you got a very basic sort of 3D effect from it. I've still got that one. I don't know. I presume it still works.
Yeah, I think I vaguely remember seeing something like that in the Argos catalogue at some point. I'm sure it must have been in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I found it last time I was looking for something in the attic, but I think I might have mentioned it on the show before. I've got the same time I went up there, I found an old Sonic the Hedgehog water squirty toy.
Oh, I had that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had that.
And
yeah, there's like the rings went up and you had to hook them on things, didn't you?
Yeah. I found that in there, still filled with original 1992 water.
I love that. I love how old that water is.
I know.
It's hilarious, isn't it? It's brilliant.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, that's
1992 water,
yeah.
brilliant.
So, God, that's a... Well, I'm sure...
Just a little trip down memory lane there for all of us.
Yeah,
Yeah, lovely. I enjoyed that.
But yeah, so the Game & Watch, I've heard a lot of people, not a lot of people, I've heard people say it's too much money for what it is, and, you know...
How much was it? It's about 50 quid or something.
I 45 I paid for it, direct from the Nintendo site.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad. I mean, it's more of a collectible bit for the 35th Mario anniversary rather than a, you know, could it have been cheaper? Probably, but you know, it was a collector's item for the anniversary. It's not bad, I think.
No, it's not bad. I saw that someone's hacked it.
Oh
today,
yeah,
I think. So I mean, who knows what else you could put on there? So, you know, for that reason, maybe that's quite good. It's got a good screen and everything.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if people can hack it for homebrew, I wouldn't imagine it would be that long before people start putting Game & Watch recreations on there themselves.
Oh yeah, so you can get the whole lot on there anyway.
On there anyway, yeah. So I mean, you know.
Of course, if Nintendo's listening, we do not condone such actions at all.
I can't imagine they are, but no, of course not. And if you are listening, they did a good work on the artificial scarcity. Keep it up.
Yeah, we're big fans here.
Big fans, love it. Hey, well, that's another bridge burned. What next?
Yeah. I got an incoming indie.
Okay,
a little one.
Good. Yeah, cool.
Just a little quick one. This is called Berserk Boy.
Oh.
It's just a little thing. It's only I can only find it on Twitter basically. So it's just a guy working away on a little game himself. It's a nice little. It's at Berserk Boy Game. If you want to look it up.
Okay.
It is. It's a little sort of Mega Man style pixel art platformer, but he's a really good animator. Does some lovely work. You can sort of change forms to tackle different problems in the game, and it's just a very nice looking little platformer. Kind of it's like Mega Man-ish, but it's got a bit more pace to it. So yeah, just go and check it out. That's at Berserk Boy Game. I think it's still quite early on in development. No signs of platforms yet or anything, but yeah, he posts a lot. I look on his Twitter. He posts a lot, but you can find like little gameplay GIFs if you scroll through it. I think he's probably got a couple on near the top. So.
Yeah, there we go. Berserk. Oh no. Berserk Boy Game. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
I was spelling Berserk wrong. I was spelling it with a Z. He's done it with the RS.
It's the S, the old S.
Oh yeah, that looks really cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Okay, yeah. Well, we'll retweet that ourselves. Post a little, do a little signal boost for him.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay,
Right.
so
Unless there's anything else you need to discuss.
no. Well, we've got a crisis brewing.
Oh, an incredible crisis.
It's an incredible crisis.
Oh.
I've been looking forward to talking about this.
Cool. Okay, shall we take a quick break then? And then
We'll take a break.
God, we're flying through this
discuss
show
it.
today, aren't we?
It feels like it.
Feels
yeah.
like it. Breakneck pace.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. We'll see you back in a sec.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Today we're talking about Incredible Crisis for the PlayStation 1.
We are. I should have said before. I should have said in the break. Actually.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have come back with one of Tanio's sound effects. That he does over and over and over again, because it never gets old. So you could have. You could have just. That could have been the little stinger to come back with.
I could have just, I mean, perhaps I'll just put that, instead of the music, I'll just put that over and over and over again, shall I? Yeah, so this is, it's a little party game, isn't it? It's like a single-player party game.
Yes.
Developed by Polygon Magic and published... I did look up Polygon Magic, I can't remember anything else. They did quite a lot of other stuff, but nothing rings a bell.
No.
What they did. It's a fairly... I think it's quite a small studio.
Yeah, but they did Galarians, which is a game we might cover on a future show. But that's probably the biggest known thing they've done, certainly known to Western audiences, I think.
Okay. Developed by Polygon Magic, published by Takuma Shoten in Japan, where it released in June 1999. In the US and Europe, it was published by Titus Interactive and released in November 2000. You can pick up a PAL copy for around the £10 to £20 mark.
Yeah, it's cheap.
So it's not
cheap as chips.
Yeah. Interestingly, it was designed and scripted by Kenichi Nishi of Skip Limited, who co-directed Chibi Robo.
Indeed.
As we had the other episode. Single player party game. It's got it's made up of 24 mini games. And it follows 4 separate stories of individual members of a Japanese family as they attempt to return home for the grandmother's birthday.
Yes.
And then hilarity ensues.
Yes, it's everything that could possibly go wrong. Literally anything that could possibly go wrong does go wrong.
From the mind of a Japanese person. Not to stereotype, but it's just literally, this game is nuts. It's nuts with a capital N.
Yes.
So I've actually written down the sequence of events that happens to the father.
Yeah.
Okay, and I shall read them out. Basically, his morning in-office exercise routine is disrupted by a runaway statue of a globe that's being positioned by helicopters and proceeds to chase him down a corridor before trapping him inside a plummeting elevator and leaving him dangling on a flagpole. And that's just the start. That's just the morning, So a statue that was holding the flagpole then falls on his head. He's taken off in an ambulance where paramedics ask him quick-fire general knowledge questions to check that he's still alive. Jubilant with his success, they then eject him from the ambulance on his stretcher, on which he has to avoid traffic. He then encounters and is love-struck by his attractive female colleague, whom he follows onto a Ferris wheel, and we're going to get to that later, because it's definitely something you'll want to stick around for. Anyway, so he exits the Ferris wheel capsule via helicopter, leaving him with a bomb. The bomb explodes. He lands on a battleship that's being used in an attack on a UFO that has appeared over the sea. Via a phone call, his daughter encourages him to commandeer a turret on the ship to shoot away the missiles that are being fired at it. And then a small sinking boat that he has to help bail water out of takes him to the shore, where he takes an underground train home, only to discover that the same woman has cut the brakes and the train crashes its way up to the surface level, where he miraculously finds himself in his own back garden. That's the father's story.
I mean, I don't know what sounds so incredible about that. I mean, Mundane Crisis would have been a much better name, wouldn't it, really?
Yeah. So that's his story. Then you've got three others from three other family members. And it runs in sequence, and they've each got several mini games to encounter, and they'll sort of reference a few of them there. So you picked this game.
I did, yeah.
Did you play this at the time?
Not at the time, no. This is another one. I was aware of it at the time. I'd read about it in official UK PlayStation magazine, and it seemed like the kind of game I would have liked. But for whatever reason, I just never picked it up at the time. Picked it up years later. It's just one of the, do you ever get that thing where you just randomly think of a game that you'd seen years ago and you think, oh yeah, I'll have a look on eBay, see how much that is. And it was, like you said, it was like £10. So I thought, okay, God, it'd be daft not to at that price. So this was a few years back. Yeah, and I just found it hilarious.
Yeah, it's very odd. It's I think I remember seeing a screenshot of it in Retro Gamer where they would talk about sort of lesser known games, and that's the only indication I'd had of it. When I didn't know it by name, and then I had no idea what I was getting myself into basically. So I kind of booted it up and to see, and that was the best. That's the best way to experience. In a way, we're ruining it for everyone. Really, that is the best way to experience it. But short of that, just listen to this.
I was going to say, if we maybe focus just, if we talk about the game, if we focus mainly on Tanio's section,
sure, okay,
and then we can leave some of the rest. If you do want to play it, there's still plenty to. The other stories are quite nuts as well, so there'll be plenty.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to ruin the stories of any of the other characters, and they do kind of interlink as well, which is quite interesting. But yeah, there's a few other mini games from the other characters that I do want to discuss. Okay, cool. But we won't ruin every single one of them. We'll just sort of talk about some of our favourites and maybe some that we didn't get on so well with. So I said to you in the break, there's a Ferris wheel game which we will leave till last, because we definitely want to talk about it. Okay. So before we get to that, were there what? I mean, first of all, we should say what kind of mini games are we talking about? So there's a couple of rhythm-based games in there.
I'm going to say a lot of them are sort of rhythm games, quick time events, and that kind of thing.
It's very simple, sort of either directional and like one or two buttons, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nothing majorly complex.
It's very simple stuff that you can kind of pick up. You get a little bit of information about what you need to do before you start the game, and then you kind of get. But sometimes it takes a little while to figure it out, I would say. Yeah,
they're a bit like WarioWare segments, but extended out. Whereas WarioWare is just like 5 seconds. This is like, you get a minute or two of each one.
Yeah, it's a full game that you have to complete, and they are in a linear sequence, so you have to do them one by one. There's a little kind of a logo of a guy who's under a lot of pressure in the corner, and that indicates how well you're doing in the game, doesn't it? It's like
it's just a health bar really in reverse, and every time you do if you make a mistake, it increases. If it reaches the top, you lose a life. But if you as you do well, the stress decreases and you can carry on.
So it kind of monitors how well you're doing, basically. And there are lives in this, actually, aren't there?
Yeah, there are.
So you will get a chunk of mini games, and if you lose your life, you do have to start with those again. And I did stream this. Did you I know you didn't catch the stream.
I didn't watch it live, but I did watch the video on demand. Yeah.
Yeah, because it started. Tanio's first game is a rhythm game, which I'm terrible at. I just can't. I'm not very good. So it did take me quite a few attempts, and I'm not afraid to admit that once I completed that, I did a quick save state on the old emulator because there was no chance in hell I was doing that again.
Yes.
Yeah, but I must admit, when I got the hang, it's this dancing thing he does in the office, isn't it? They go in, all the employees get up and do a little dance to get in the day, which is kind of a Japanese thing anyway, isn't it? They kind of do that.
Thing they do, yeah.
That is the thing they do. So it's based on a real thing, and it's basically just a simple like press these buttons in the sequence along with the beat of the music. You know, you see it in countless other rhythm games. And I must admit, when I finally did get into the rhythm of it, it was very satisfying to just get it in there. But I think that's just that's a general point about rhythm games, I suppose. Once you finally get it, but it's probably the best I've done. That final bit where I actually got it was the best I've done on a rhythm game, I would say. I genuinely thought, oh god, I'll be sitting here all night trying to do this. Yeah. So, other ones that stood out for you then? What?
Stood out good or stood out bad?
Either.
Stood out
because I think there's a mix. There's a mixed bag, I think.
Yeah, there's the one that I particularly didn't like, and I think judging from the stream, perhaps you felt it as well. The general knowledge quiz in the ambulance.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah.
I did not like it.
No. I like the idea. I do like the idea.
Is good. Yeah. But
basically, you're in an ambulance and you see these two paramedics leaning over you, and for some reason they want to ask you general knowledge questions and like sort of arithmetic questions to ensure that you're alive or something, I guess.
Yeah, so instead of doing like, how many fingers I'm holding up, they'll say, is the sum of 22,604 and 35,702 an even number? Yeah. And you get like 2 seconds to answer.
It's very. I didn't even get enough time to read the whole question sometimes because I'm quite a slow reader, and then you usually get 2 seconds to think of it, and then. But I think you do get them repeated, and you kind of learn that it's yes or no. It's simple yes or no answers,
and
you do kind of learn some of them. There's like 10 of them. You got to get 10 right ones, I think, 10 correct ones, and if you get too many wrong answers, then you have to start again, and. I'm just trying to think of some of the others. It was.
So, is the French flag the oldest one in the world?
Yeah. And then you just learn that that's true or false, essentially, by trial and error. And then towards the end, they get really complicated. Like, point A is 500 kilometers from point B. Point C is to the west of that. Where is point C from point A? And it's just.
I know.
Literally, no matter how many times that was expressed to me, and I think they changed the values anyway, but I just could not get my head around that quick enough, and I just had to guess.
It's just guesswork.
And I got there eventually. But yeah, that was... I like the idea, but I think...
I like the idea, but
I think some tweaking.
Yeah, it wasn't fun, and I think that's... It just became more of an obstacle, right? The mini game that comes immediately afterwards, where he's chucked out on a stretcher and he's like hurtling down a hill, and you have to dodge obstacles and jump over things, and I like that one. That's kind of what the game represents the game better to me. It's this fun, quirky, silly little game with a daft premise, and it's just great. But the quiz, not so much.
There's another one that is in the wife's list of minigames where she's got a bag and she's got another bag full of items, and she needs to take a certain number of items out of the bag and put it in the other bag to make sure that they match weights.
Yeah.
And you've got a list of all the items and their weights, and you've got a target weight to achieve, and you've got to work out which items you want to add up exactly to the target weight. I'm not kidding you. I spent an hour on this game. A whole hour of my evening on this game because I just couldn't get. Part of the problem was it's got a very narrow window where you can see there's loads and loads of items on there, and you only get a line of 6 of them at a time, and you've got to keep scrolling through, and it's that time pressure, and I just couldn't find like the right combination, and I ended up having to literally write them all out on a notepad in like a grid.
That's really old school.
It is really old school. I've never had to write anything out in a game before on a piece of paper, but I had to do it with this, and I had to just you see what the last digits are, and you kind of add those up first, and then you kind of see what bigger ones you can get. But even then, it took me ages. And the thing is, I'm not very good at arithmetic.
No,
the thing is, it's not like it's a set thing. They randomize the items every time.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even look it up on YouTube. I couldn't even use save states or anything like that. All the weapons in my cheating arsenal were just robbed of me, and I just had to work it out on a pen and paper. And yeah, it wasn't fun.
No.
The one saving grace of that one is it had really good music.
The music is really good.
The music's really good. It is. I've got the name of the band. Here we go. Performed by the Tokyo Ska Paradise Orchestra, apparently. But yeah, it's a really lovely little catchy music in the whole game. Yeah, very good. It kind of really brings it to life, definitely, especially that minigame. Anything else?
No. I mean, no. I'm skirting around the.
We're not skirting around it. Before we do that, there's that sinking boat game that appears 3 times, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they even make fun of it by saying, I think it's, what's it called? It's called Titanic something, and then it says, Titanic, the last time, we promise. I believe the reason for that is that in the Japanese version, there are 2 other minigames that were never brought over.
Oh, really?
Because they couldn't be translated easily.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I looked this up. In the scene where, at the end of Tanio's story, where he gets on the train, there's a bomb on it. No, the brakes have been cut, but he just kind of... You'd think a minigame would go there, wouldn't you?
Mm.
It was supposed to. There's supposed to be a minigame there. And what it was is you travel on the train, and when you pass the platforms outside of the train, you see people holding up signs, and they've got like Japanese symbols on them. And they are supposed to be hinting at a sequence of buttons that you're supposed to be pressing.
Oh.
But I think the problem was because is it kanji, the type of Japanese character that kind of represents a thing in just a symbol?
Yeah.
It's a very complex symbol. They could put one of those on a card, but you can't do the same with English. There's not enough room to fit, something like that. So they couldn't translate it properly.
Oh, that's awkward, yeah.
I know. And then another one is one of the daughter's games. She does like a karaoke thing where you kind of the words of the song come up, and you've got to kind of press buttons along with it.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, they just didn't do it. I don't know. They couldn't translate it.
I was going to say maybe
it would have required a whole different song being made, like an English version. Yeah, so I think they just cut it out. So I presume they just replaced those with the 2 same games.
Yeah, I guess
again.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Although maybe not, because the storylines, there's like cut scenes. All the cut scenes are in
they're all pre-rendered.
Pre-rendered,
yeah.
And you do see the characters go into that boat, which obviously was made originally. So maybe they were just 2 extra games, and I don't know, they weren't there in the end.
I might try and track down a copy and see. I mean, the general rule of thumb is Japanese versions of games are a lot cheaper than the Western and US versions.
A lot of them are, yeah.
So if it's cheap, I might just try and get a copy and fumble my way through it just to see. It's mostly guesswork with the rest of the game, so I'm sure I can manage it with.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, it would be an entertaining thing if you do manage to do that. Right, let's talk about this Ferris wheel then.
Okay.
So, Tanio, having just negotiated his way across the road on a stretcher, he encounters a woman that was in the dancing minigame. I presume maybe it's his boss or a colleague or someone.
I think,
yeah. Attractive woman. He falls completely in love with her. He follows her onto a Ferris wheel capsule. Right. The minigame begins. All you see, I must point out, all you see is a picture of the Ferris wheel turning around and around, right? The objective is to give her a back rub based entirely on her vocal cues about where you need to go with the directional buttons. Okay? So she'll make sounds like this.
All the way down. Further down. A little bit left.
And then, as you get closer, she'll make sounds like this.
Oh, just a tiny bit up. There.
And I do recall you saying on your stream when you played it through that you hope your wife doesn't walk in on you playing that.
And it's just and another thing, according to Wikipedia, the Japanese version of this is not necessarily a back rub. That's what it says.
Okay. Well,
but yeah, we'll leave that to your own imaginations. But I mean, it's a clever idea.
well, I suppose it is. Yeah.
So you're completely blind. You don't see where you're going. So you've got to tap the directions that she's telling you. If you go over, she'll tell you the opposite direction, and then you just got to work out how close you are based on what she says. Exactly.
Just like real life, you know. I mean,
Just like real life.
Just like real life. But it's one of those. You just feel so awkward playing it, don't you?
Yeah, there's a little bit of awkwardness,
it just
but
feels a bit odd.
It was odd, but it was also very funny.
Yeah, it's
I couldn't contain my
yeah.
my amusement at it. Yeah, it's well worth playing. It really.
Yeah.
just to experience it.
experience
And then when you get
that.
there, you have to keep tapping the X button to raise the old bar,
So to speak.
because that's to raise the bar, so to speak. Because that's the sweet spot. Yeah. So yeah, that's the Ferris wheel game. Yeah, and I think it's easily the most memorable game of the whole thing. I think.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I think you could argue.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Anyone who plays it, I think that will point to that mission as like, okay,
Yeah.
that's unique.
it's a memorable mission
certainly
from any
is.
video game, let alone just this.
Yeah, there aren't enough back rubs in video games.
There are very few back rubs in video games. Yeah.
The only other
That's the
one I
first
can think of is Battletoads.
Is there a back rub in Battletoads?
In the new Battletoads, yeah, one of the Battletoads has took up a job as a masseuse. And
Okay.
you have to do a little back rub. Yeah, so rubbed by a toad
Fair
or
enough.
rubbed on a Ferris wheel. You know, games
Yeah,
got you covered either way.
Indeed.
We don't judge.
We don't judge. No, get your back rubs wherever you
Wherever
want.
you want.
I was just trying to think if there's any other.
Oh, it's difficult to top that, isn't it? Really.
It is difficult to top that now. Actually, yeah. I did like the one where there's a big bear.
Yes.
And she's the wife is in for some reason is in like a fighter jet, as you do, and she's flying around, and the camera kind of is on rails, but you have to aim the targeting thing at the bear each time you see him, and it kind of sweeps around. You got to. I really enjoyed that actually. It's very simple, but yeah, I kept failing at it, but it's one of those ones that I just kept wanting to keep going.
I was going to say, I think that when the game is at its best, it is those levels where it does have that one more go kind of factor, doesn't it? You know, it's
definitely.
like it doesn't. It's difficult, but it doesn't feel unfair. You get that feeling like one more go, I'll get it this time, time, and
exactly,
I think that's what really
yeah.
hooks you in that.
Those types of games are the best ones, I think. Yeah. There's another quite a nice idea. I didn't want to go too far into the other characters, but the little boy, he finds himself on a big spider's web.
Yes.
And there's a bar at the bottom, and you've got to time it when the bar gets to a green point, a sort of a set green point on the bar, but when the playhead gets there. But the sort of the playhead disappears after a little while, so you have to guess where it will be based on the trajectory that it starts with.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So the bar is moving along and it disappears. And I thought that was a really nice idea,
Yeah, it's a
actually.
neat little-
I can't remember
little
seeing
mechanic.
that exact kind of thing in anywhere else. It was quite a nice little touch.
Yeah. There are a lot of nice little ideas in there for mini games.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever got a sequel or a follow up, did it?
No, don't think so.
which is a shame because I think it's one of those things. It's so daft. It could have easily. You could have continued the story in any kind of direction, couldn't you?
Yeah. You could have done incredible something else and base it on a completely different thing.
Yeah, and
And come up with a load of new mini games, and it would have been like a series.
I'm going to say it would be a really good. I imagine it'd be a fun game to have like a few friends around, passing the controller around, everyone having a go. It'd be great fun, like Mario Party kind of sort of thing. If they could, it could have been a series with different things each time and wacky games, and so it's a shame. It's sort of, but it just ended up as this little standalone thing.
Yeah, I mean, not long after this, I think WarioWare sort of became a thing, didn't it? Not too long, and then that kind of is very similar kind of concept, but much shorter doses. I guess it was. Yeah, I guess it would be difficult to compete with that.
Yeah, I suppose it would.
In sort of more a linear series of longer games, it seems less appealing, and because this kind of game thrives on it's like you say, it's the ideal thing when you get your mates around and you kind of hand the controller back and forth, and it kind of feeds off of that enjoyment that you get collectively.
Yeah.
Whether the mini game is good or bad, if it's fun, if it's funny, then it's an entertaining game. I think WarioWare delivers on that. It gets that down to a T, so it's difficult to compete with that in the same way because it's just so quick, so sudden.
There is one area that WarioWare falls down on though, and no one can dispute that, and that is back rubs.
That's true.
There's no back rubs at all.
Wario does not do back rubs.
He's not given an erotic back rub in his life. He wouldn't know where to start.
He would not have a clue.
He wouldn't have a clue.
Tanio is your man for back rubs.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a call.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think to summarise, I would recommend people play it.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to try it. I don't think it's a perfect game. I think there's a few little. There are definitely some frustrating mini games in there, but on the whole, it's just a really funny, charming package.
Yeah.
That I think anyone will enjoy because it's very funny.
I was going to make a little glib comment that it wasn't going to win any awards for the story at the annual Podemup Awards, but do you know what? I'm not going to say that. Thinking about it,
it might do.
It might well do actually.
The story actually is more comprehensive than you would give it credit for.
Yeah, it's actually quite creative.
It's not bad.
No.
Yeah, it's good. It's nuts, but it's not bad.
No.
Yeah. We have one comment on it from our friend Dominoid. Yeah, he said, absolute classic this. I recently revisited it and finished it, and it's just as nutty as ever. Great soundtrack too.
It's a really good soundtrack.
It is, yeah. I'd recommend, I'm going to put it in the episode, obviously,
yeah.
So if you like this kind of music, yeah, it's worth checking out.
Cool.
Right.
So, your choice for our next game then?
So, next month, as you said, we've got the Podemup Awards.
Are we doing that next month?
Next month, yeah, because that'll be the last. That'll be the last episode of the year.
Yeah, wow.
So we've got, we've got 8 games so far in the nominees. I'm going to throw in 2 more.
Oof.
Okay, because we're going to do 2 games. It's going to be a busy month. We're going to do 2 games next month, but they both have the same title.
Okay.
They were released for 2 different consoles.
Can I guess?
Yeah, go on.
Is it Sonic the Hedgehog?
No.
Oh.
No, it's not Sonic the Hedgehog. No.
Okay.
Everyone has an opinion on which is best, and it's usually based on whichever version they played at the time.
You sure it's not Sonic the Hedgehog?
It's not, no. Both released in 1993.
Oh, okay.
They're based on a movie made by different developers.
Okay.
It's a Disney movie.
Oh, okay. I was thinking Jurassic Park, but it's not that now.
No.
Okay,
no.
I know what it is. Yeah.
It's
Aladdin.
Disney's Aladdin and Disney's Aladdin. We are playing both of them.
Both of them, okay.
And we are going to decide. They're going to go head to head, and we're going to decide between us which one is the best.
Which one did you play growing up?
Mega Drive one.
I did as well.
Yeah.
I've really not played much of the Super Nintendo one at all.
Exactly the same for me, and everyone says it's really good. Everyone who grew up with the Super Nintendo one. So I'm going to be very interested to see what we both think of it compared to the Mega Drive one.
Yeah, okay.
Because the Mega Drive one in particular, for me, is very special because it's actually pretty much my first ever game that I owned. You know, I think I mentioned it before, but I got my Mega Drive in Christmas '93. Got a big bundle of games. Because that was the one that was bundled with the Mega Drive itself, and I'm pretty sure I played it first, I consider it to be my first ever game, essentially. So very special to me. But I don't think it's a perfect game. I think it's quite difficult, unfairly so in some places.
Certainly in some places, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I think there's some advantages it has over the SNES one, from what I can tell. But I'm eager to play the SNES one in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep an open mind. I'm very, very fond of the Mega Drive version. It is a very special game to me as well. So
so we may be coming into it from a slightly biased position already, but I think we're going to be try and be as objective as we can. And yeah, it should be an interesting show.
Yeah, that'd be good. I look forward to that. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
good
excellent,
choice.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, so that's about that, really.
That's another show in the can.
Yeah. Oh, before we go, I just wanted to give a little shout out to Sonic the Comic, the podcast, because I was listening to them today, and I wrote them an email ages ago, but they read it out today.
Oh, nice.
And I put a little cheeky mention of Podemup in there, which they read out. So I just wanted to return the favour. And say Sonic the Comic, the podcast, my favourite podcast at the moment, actually, because I was a big collector of the comic back in the 90s, and what they do is they go through every issue in each show, one by one, and literally just sort of leaf through it, and they're really, really entertaining guys. And if you have any affection for Sonic the Comic, I would definitely recommend you check it out. But also, if you were a kid in the 90s, I think there's quite a lot in there that you'll enjoy as well, because they kind of look at the adverts and things that were targeted at kids at the 90s, and it's lots of different discussions about that. So it's a really, really good podcast.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to slip that in there because it was.
I used to love Sonic the Comic.
Yeah, I collected it. I think I started in issue 24 and I collected it for about 5 years, non-stop. So it was a huge influence on me growing up.
Yeah. I actually got issue 1.
Did you?
Not to.
Oh wow.
Not to show off, but no, my mum bought it for me because I was obsessed with Sonic, and she bought me this comic. I can't remember how much it was, but it was when I was a kid, I thought it was pricey. Because my mum said, you're not getting it every week, you're not getting it every issue. Well, you get it every now and then.
I think it started out less than £1.
Yeah, I know, but when you're a kid.
But then, when you're a kid, I mean, you might as well be tenner.
I was going to say,
20 quid.
Yeah, might as well have been. So I didn't get every issue, but I got a fair few of them, and it's really good. I used to love the fact that they didn't just do Sonic. There was like Streets of Rage, Golden Axe comics, Echo the Dolphin comics, all that kind of stuff. So it's good.
The Streets of Rage ones in particular, when these guys talk about them, they're really sort of mature stuff, and it was they weren't just throwing crap out there. They were really thinking about these stories, and and trying to appeal to particular audiences and a wide range of them as well.
Who was it who wrote for the famous writer who wrote for Sonic the Comic? Is it Mark Miller?
Yeah, he wrote the Streets of Rage one.
Ah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, cool. Yeah, okay, that's really cool. I'll check that out myself then. Yeah, because I like that.
Yeah, do. It's it's a great show.
Without Sonic the Comic, we wouldn't have the famous Sonic character Porker Lewis.
No, we wouldn't. Which is who's something of a mascot for Podemup. Who was a little while, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, old Porker Lewis. I mean, you think of Sonic the Hedgehog, first thing that comes to head. Porker Lewis. His little leather jacket is.
Yeah, he looks so cute in his little leather jacket.
I know, what
he?
legend.
The weird thing is, he started out with trotters, and soon enough they realised that they couldn't get him to do much with those, so they just gave him full-on gloved hands like the Sonic characters.
How does that work?
I know, it's
Stick a
just...
glove on a trotter and suddenly he's got all articulated fingers. It's amazing.
Well, the guys on the podcast wonder if he made them like robot hands for himself.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Imagine if that was... Oh, I love headcanon stuff.
Which would
like
make
that.
sense, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, that's brilliant. Yeah, I'll check that out. And so should
Yeah,
you.
do. Yes. So, that about wraps it up. We are Podemup. Our email is podemup@gmail.com. We are at Podemup on Twitter, and podemup.live is our little website. And podemup.twitch as well. It's where I sometimes stream the games that we're playing.
Yes.
And I might put them on YouTube as well, because we don't have like a paid Twitch account, so the videos don't stay there. But I do download them, so I might pop them up on our YouTube.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah,
as
cool.
well.
Yeah.
Which I haven't. I used to put our episodes on there as well, but I haven't done that in about 10 episodes, so I should probably do that as well. I kind of ignored the YouTube channel.
I think most people ignore our YouTube channel, to be honest. But
I think
I don't
yeah.
blame them. I don't blame them. It's more, it's just an also, an extra place to find things if you want to.
Well, the thing I always assumed about YouTube is because there's so much like music and stuff on there. I assumed that you could just upload an MP3 and like a piece and then like an image, and it would just do it for you. But last time I did it anyway, you don't. You actually have to make the movie yourself with the MP3 and the image, and then upload that. And I just couldn't be bothered in the end, to be honest. It's just too much of a faff, really.
It's a lot of faff for 3 views, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So, that's what I thought. But I think it would be good to put some video stuff on there.
Yeah.
Anyway, if we don't do episodes. So, yeah, keep an eye on that. I don't know what that link is, but you can just find us, put them up on there. Okay.
Cool. Okay. Wow. That sounds like a good place to call the show to a close. We've got a great game for next month, and
2 great games.
2 great games, correct. And the ever popular Podemup Awards.
Indeed.
The highlight of the gaming year for many in the industry.
Yeah, we'll be all dressed up in our tuxedos.
Yeah.
For the big event.
Absolutely.
On the red carpet.
Do you know, I'm still slightly disappointed that Capcom never contacted us to get their Podemup trophy. I was genuinely going to pay for a little, only like, those little darts trophies you get in like a hardware shop where they engrave it for £1. I'd have got one of those, and I'd have sent it to Capcom, but they didn't. They didn't contact us.
Although, to be fair, Toby Fox never did either.
No, he didn't. No,
so,
but I mean, he's probably busy creating things.
He's a busy man.
He's a busy man.
Capcom, they got someone who can do that in their big organisation.
Exactly, they can delegate that.
Reach out
just
to the
get the
little
receptionist to drop us a line. It's fine. It's not a problem.
Yeah. Well, we should say, if you want to vote, basically, it's all the games that we played this year, apart from the Podemup Awards last year, where we played the 2 bad games. They weren't in it last year, and they're not in it this year.
No.
But everything else is up for an award, including the 2 games we're going to play next month. It's 2 Aladdins separately. So that's 10 games. Pick your favourite, which isn't really fair because you might not have played them all, but hey, there you go. That's how it goes. And it will be factored in some way.
Yes.
So that's an incentive. I might shake up the awards this year, because we did have a problem last year where arguably the second best game was Metal Gear Solid, but it didn't get as many votes as some of the others just because of the way the thing worked.
That's just,
so I might,
that's just the algo at work. You can't help it.
Yeah, but I might do some. I've got an idea to tweak to make sure that maybe it's a little bit more fairer, but we'll discuss that separately.
All right.
Yeah, so that's that next month. Very exciting. Do tell us your favourite games from this year, and we'll see you then.
See you
Bye-bye.
then. Bye.
down.